Trey here with Eddie Mojo. Thanks for checking it out. We are taking a look at some of the all-age comic books for the week of September 21st, 2022. We are currently on this website, Previews World. You can go to whatever website you buy your comics. Having said that, we don't even buy our comics from here. Oh, we get a website from our local comic book store, and they tell us what's coming this week. But we also kind of cross-reference it with this site so we can report back to you what you may see in your local store. That's why we do this. Also, we love reading and comics, as you can tell. So check it out. Star Wars has reverted back to Dark Horse Comics. In publisher of wonky comic book terms, that just means that Marvel Comics is no longer making Star Wars comic books. Yay, inside baseball. But that happened a while ago. Dark Horse Comics had the rights to Star Wars many years ago, about 7 or 6 or 8 years ago. I forget when. You know, parents makes you age in like elephant years where you forget stuff. This is one of the first new comic books from Dark Horse Comics that's going to be great for the all-age audience. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories. Check it out. Look at the art. It's gorgeous. You say to yourself, if you're an 8-year-old student, I'm looking for a Star Wars comic book, one that I can read easily and that's still cool. It's got some street cred. Check this out. Star Wars Hyperspace Stories. It's from Dark Horse Comics. And you parents, it is going to be great for ages 8 and up. Content-wise, I know some comic books, if you've gone to the store and you say, 8 and up parents, you'll be okay with this. From Dark Horse Comics. From Random House Graphic. This is the second graphic novel in this series, the Mayor Goodboy series. Mayor Goodboy Goes Hollywood. What's not to love about this? From Dave Scheidt, Miranda Harmon. Just check it out. It's gorgeous. It's a dog. He gets his own show. And this is the kind of graphic novel that those younger elementary school kids are going to latch onto because I'll say even grades 2 and up, because those ages want to dig into graphic novels, but they want something that is going to be appropriate for them and not too scary, too difficult, or too weird, or too inappropriate. And you parents are kind of in the same boat with them. To that end, Mayor Goodboy is going to be a great series from you. Also, Random House Graphic does a lot of really great all-age graphic novels. I don't want to say they're all perfect because they're all going to have they produce more graphic novels. So some of them may be more science fiction-y, more Middle-earthy, more humor, more surreal. This is more humory and surreal. But if you're in a pinch, check out anything from that publisher, and there's bound to be something that they publish that is going to be up your alley if you're a second grader or up. Also, Crab and Snail. Jared Chapman, one of our favorite illustrators, does some great stuff. Great stuff. If you have a kid who's having trouble learning the throes of potty training, vegetables and bathing suits, is that what it's called? Vegetables and Suits, Fruits and Suits. I forget the name of the series because it's been about 8 or 9 years ago when it came out. Does some great work. That's the punchline there. His latest artwork is Crab and Snail, the Tidal Pool of Cool, with words by Beth. Ferry. What's not to love about this one also? You got Starfish's pointy perfect. So her tide pool's filled with friends. They have fun at the beach. Who's going to like it? Ages 7, you first graders and up. It'll be okay for you. You'll love it. You'll see it in elementary school libraries and say, why didn't we get this earlier? That's what you'll do. Crab and Snail, the Tidal Pool of Cool. It's out this week. Now, this is a one that we've never actually seen. But look at the cover. I see a blue dude with a cat face and a yellow prickly monster with a human face. And if I was a 5-year-old, I would say, I want to read this. And you will too if you're 5 years old and happen to stumble across this. If you're a parent and you've got a 5-year-old, check this out for your youth. It's Dragon Puncher. It's book 3 in the Dragon Puncher Punches Back series. Actually, that's the name of book 3. And you probably know this author, James Kochalka. That's certainly not the way you say his name. But he's an Eisner Award-winning graphic artist. Sorry about that. But just check out the art. Oh, goodness. Super cute. Dragon Puncher punches back. Grades ages 4 and up. It looks just so cute. I may stop recording now and go buy it and read it as amends to James Kochalka. I'm sure there's a video YouTube tutorial out there somewhere on how to pronounce his last name. Sorry about that. Big Nate. Now, you may have seen some of the Big Nate that's been CG realized, or I guess, computer graphic updated. That's what the show on Nickelodeon's doing. And there is a Big Nate graphic novel that has the CG rendered Big Nate. This is the classic Big Nate that a lot of us love in the comic book strips. However, I've kind of come around and I can see where certain generations, certain ages are going to like the CGI rendered Big Nate more than the newspaper comic strip Big Nate. Pick your poison. This one is classic, though. Big Nate, Release the Hounds. It's funny because Big Nate is really timeless. We have a 7th grader and a 5th grader. The 7th grader has liked Big Nate since he was in about 5th grade. It becomes funny when you're in 5th grade. Kids that age can read it and start to laugh out loud and say, that's me, that's my life. But even high school kids, even parents, you old parents, you'll read Big Nate and you'll laugh. And suddenly you'll spend the afternoon out on the porch or the back deck or the front deck or the front yard or by the beach or by the pool or by the deck or anywhere. And you'll say, my goodness, this is classic stuff. And it is great. Big Nate, Release the Hounds from AMP Comics for Kids. I think we have one more from those folks coming out this week. They're a really reliable publisher. There are 3 really reliable publishers that coincidentally have books coming out this week. Not that all of them are good from this publisher, but so many of them are that it's like, okay, let's pay attention because this is coming out from this publisher. Big Nate, Release the Hounds. Not this week. IDW Publishing. It's Usagi Yojimbo. Every week this comes out. That's once a month, boys and girls. I'm going to give you a heads up that this comic book is one of the best things out there, and it's going to have enough action to where you upper, middle, I'll say fourth graders and up. You'll love it. It's cool. You middle school kids, it's got street cred. Even high school kids, it's awesome. Even adults, you'll love it. It's a Ronin, Rabbit Warrior, What's Not to Love, Stan Sakai. It's a great series. Check it out if you don't know about it. Another, here we are, Andrews McMeel. This is a series that it demos a little bit older than Big Nate, but it's great. And I say demos older because the 5th graders may not get Binge-worthy Zits. They may not get Zits, the comic book strip. Our middle school kid is starting to get it. He's kind of like where he was in upper elementary school, understanding Big Nate. When he reads Zits now, it's like he's seeing the high school life, but he's not in high school yet. So you upper middle school kids, you will find Zits hilarious. You high school kids, you'll find it hilarious. You parents, you'll probably find Zits hilarious. You will. It's a classic series, and each treasury compilation is just hilarious and timeless. It's great. Jim Borgman, Jerry Scott, they've been doing this series for 25 plus years now. Doesn't show a day of age. It's out this week. Binge-worthy Zits. It's hilarious. Now we jumped the lead and showed you this in a second, but the day this book came out, actually it comes out this week, but we received a copy of this last week, and it is utterly gorgeous. It's encyclopedic in the story of Spider-Man in comic books. So it details some of the great Spider-Man comic book stories that have run on Marvel Comics. Wow, you'll be glued to it. A publisher, I think it was Quarto, a couple of years did something like this for Flash, a kind of a lesser tier comic book character, and that was incredibly engaging. So when you combine that to a world-class comic book character who has some great stories, like The Amazing Spider-Man, of course, Maximum Carnage is in there. I think it highlights 50. I don't want to say how many stories it highlights. I'm guessing 50, I think. I knew maybe 3 to 5 maybe 3 to 7 of the series. The other story arcs I had heard of or I had seen when I was younger or whatnot. And it's really great. And for you old school parents, you may be thinking it's just old stories like back from the 70s or 80s, but it's not. A lot of the stories are from the current modern era. I dare say most of the story arcs that are highlighted in this book are from the modern era. And that's not because, oh, it's a modern book, it's trying to cash in on the kids who want to buy it. No, it's because a lot of the stories from the modern era of Spider-Man are really good. I mean, if you're thinking that all the good stories happened in the 70s or 80s, that's a slight correction there because this book is amazing, and you'll see that. The Amazing Spider-Man Web, Slinger, Hero, Icon. It is for the fans. Note that price point. Yikes, but it's gorgeous. If you look online, maybe you can find it for $10 cheaper. But it's well worth the cash. Gorgeous piece of encyclopedic book. Garlic and the Witch. I don't know anything about this graphic novel. Don't know it. Don't know the publisher. Quill Tree Books. Don't know them. But the plot looks amazing for those upper elementary school kids. Garlic and the Witch. You got the garlic. Oh, look. Garlic is friends with the witch, and the garlic is slowly turning into a human. And the garlic is scared. The garlic. I don't even know if it's a piece of garlic. It's a character named Garlic. It just makes sense that it's the garlic head. But it looks wicked cute, doesn't it? From Bree Paulsen. Change is scary. And that's basically the theme of it. I mean, you look, a lot of these graphic novels, especially the graphic novels, you can kind of look at the theme and the art and say, okay, is this going to be cool for my child? Age depending. In this case, you can make a really safe, educated guess and say, it's going to be cool for those middle school kids, definitely, and those upper elementary school kids. Garlic and the Witch from Bree Paulsen. Mouth working well. We received this book. I'm going to review it in the next week. Gorgeous. This is, I think, the third publisher that when they publish something, we kind of, do we open it first? It's one of the first to be opened. And it's one of the first publishers that will check their emails when we get them because the art and the creation behind what is in there, and it's so varied, is top notch. It really is. From Nobrow, Fly Eye Books. Curse of the Cozen from Alexis Deacon. It's number 2 in this graphic novel series. I'll stereotype it and say it's Middle-earthy, dark Middle-earthy, but it's a great story. It's gorgeous. The art is realistic, but it's not so scary. It's not scary enough to where middle school kids are going to be like, no, I don't want this. And especially you 5th graders who want something that's, I don't want to say more adult because it's not really adult. I'll just say it's more real and a realer, stronger classic graphic novel. If your interpretation of a graphic novel is a realistically drawn character with a strong storyline, that's a very cumbersome way to describe it. Curse of the Chosen, Volume 2, The Will That Shapes the World. Who's going to like this? 5th graders and up who like great graphic novels that are going to have a strong story, lots of action, and you got to pay attention. That's another thing that 5th graders want to engage in. They want a story that's going to be a little more complex, and this book will deliver it. Crabgrass, another book from Andrews McMeel. Great comic strip. Tauhid, Bonida. I'll call it Calvin and Hobbes reminiscent of. Just goofy kids having fun. What could you not like about this? I look forward to checking this one out. It's in the office somewhere. We've seen this online. It's one of those comic strips because we don't really subscribe to the newspapers anymore. Who does? Having said that, I don't even know if this would be in the funny pages anymore. So check this out. You can comicstrips.com. You can also see it there. I think it is. Wherever you get your funnies. I'm glad they don't use that word anymore. Funnies. Judgment Day. Issue 5 of 6 is out. Yeah, we're still in this tentpole series from Marvel Comics. Their summer finale type series. The art is great. The story is big. Call us a sucker, but we like it. Judgment Day, 5 of 6. It's out this week. Abrams Comics Arts. Now, this is an imprint from Abrams Books that release most of their original graphic novel type stuff. Phenomena. It's like my O's aren't working today. Phenomena. But check out the pedigree behind this. Brian Michael Bendis and Andre Lima Arauju. Great. We received a digital copy of this. And this, again, similar to, not Garlic Witch. That's it. Similar to Curse of the Chosen. It's a graphic novel that's going to be smart and have a great story. This one's going to be a little more middle school-ish, just because of the action and just because of the detail that you have to pay attention to regarding the story to really enjoy it. I loved it, though. Beautiful. We've got an online review of it coming up probably in the next week and a half. But if you're looking for a great graphic novel now, for you, I'll call you ages 10, that's on the young side, but ages 10 and up, oh, it's beautiful. And you can just tell by the art, too. It's very detailed. It's book one in a new series. This is The Golden City of Eyes from Phenomena, Brian Michael Bendis. And, of course, if you've been ensconced in DC Comics for a while, you know the name, and you're like, oh, I know that name. I've seen him on half the comics we own. And for good reason. Once you see this graphic novel, you'll see why. Nobrow. Nobrow is the sister. What is their relationship? I'm not sure exactly. Nobrow and Fly and I are like best friends. One's an imprint, and I think Fly and I is the imprint. This is a graphic novel that will not be for everybody. So this is one of those things where it's like, I like it, so I'm going to tell you about it. Neurocomic. It's about the brain, and it is a graphic novel all about the brain. But it's also like an M.C. Escher painting or print in a graphic novel that examines the brain and how memories are created, how they're accessed, and how it all works in this incredibly complex thing that sits on our shoulders. It's not for everybody. I mean, even you middle school kids will get it and say, I'm really confused by this. The first time I read it, I said, I'm really confused by this. And I wanted to go speak to a neuroscientist who lives in the neighborhood and say, what is this book? And I still want to, because it's a fabulous way to make the complex, the very complex, how to make it at least somewhat approachable to those who aren't in neuroscience. And any graphic novel that can do that, I'm immediately intrigued by. So if this at all is your cup of tea and you want something that's smarter, elementary school kids, forget about it. Middle school kids, maybe. High school kids, jump into the water. See if you like this. Parents, oh, this is your jam. If you're curious about the brain. Neurocomic from Hana and Matteo Farinella from Nobrow. It's gorgeous and weird and really intelligent. And it's one of those that you may reread a couple of times just to get it and just to hopefully get it and understand more. That's a lot. What are you reading this week? You can tweet us at Daddy Mojo or shoot us an email, Trey at Daddy Mojo. Let us know if we missed any all-age comic books that you elementary school kids or middle school kids or budding neuroscientists should read.